All right. Welcome to the Straight Red Card. This is segment 2. And yeah, we're going to start telling you this is segment 1, this is segment 2. Why? Because people say, "Hey man, didn't you hear the news?" I'm like, "Yeah, we recorded that segment 2 days ago." So yeah, we didn't hear the news 2 days ago. Sorry, we just posted up the video. So that's how this is done. That's how the sausage is made. Um, I will say this, as we're going to get into player ratings. Make sure you like, subscribe, share it with your aunt, your auntie May. All right, she's probably as old as I am, and will like this kind of stuff. Anna, did you see this billboard during the game, Brett? The name of the company is ANALIZA. Analyzer. Analyzer.
I'm
Now,
hoping they actually analyze something.
They do. I had to look it
and
up.
not what everybody's probably expecting either.
I had to look it up because I got curious.
Is this an El Salvadorian Pornhub or something?
No, it's actually a that would be raunchy. Would they really let them put that up?
They pay enough, El Salvador, it works out. Sure, why not? Fuck it.
It's a whole page for this chick named Liza. Anyhow, it's an analytical chemistry service company. Analytical chemistry service company. So I'm not endorsing them. I don't know what they're based on their name alone. I would.
Where are they testing those? Where are they analyzing the chemicals at?
Up their butts. Apparently. All right. So we went.
It's got to be like that Swedish tool, the Wonder Boner.
What?
It's about deboning fish, but it's called the Wonder Boner.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, I remember that. There's also this there's this tobacco selling, like they're a big huge, they carry every tobacco in the world, like cigar tobacco, pipe tobacco, all the cigarettes from all around the world. They're in Nashville and they're called cock smokers.
Which brings us to our first show advertiser. It's our sponsor of the show is Cock Smokers. Is that what it's called again?
We want to thank Cock Smokers for endorsing, and we
all around the world.
Say that. Yes. Visit them in Nashville. I think it's Nashville. No, it's Louisville. So, when I was in my band, I took a lot of trips to Nashville. We would always play in Louisville. So I would see that sign. And
a lot of cock smokers in Louisville.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, and you do
there was always a farm. There was always a farm that had a sign up when we drive to Nashville that said, "Unused cows for sale." And we thought, unused cows? Unused? What does that mean? They've never been milked. They must be in pain. Milk those cows. All right. We couldn't figure it out. It was the weirdest sign ever. But it was there for like all 10 years that we toured. And we just used to laugh about it. We stopped and took photos of it. All right, so let's get to the player rating.
Now that we've had a good laugh, let's talk about the player ratings.
We needed a good laugh after this game tonight. And when I say tonight, I mean we're recording this the night of the game where we tied El Salvador 0-0. And if you watched the last show, Brett and I were mildly disappointed with that. We were really hoping for 3 points. I think that was something that we could relatively expect, maybe a 1-0 win. That would have been fine.
We're tied for second place in the qualifiers, so hey,
there's that, right? Just because Canada tied, and Costa Rica
everybody tied.
All right, so
except for Mexico. Mexico's in the lead.
Yeah, Mexico is in the lead. They managed to barely pull off a win versus Jamaica, which is not a good sign for us. I don't know. Maybe it is that Mexico is playing so poorly, or Jamaica is playing so well. That's just another competitor in the oct. So let's start with Turner. Listen, when a guy hardly has to do anything, he just starts with a B. and he didn't fuck anything up. So
Well,
B plus for Turner.
I gave him a B because that one play with his feet at the very beginning of the match, and he ended up giving up a corner kick due to some fumble with the foot.
What about the save he made?
Hey, I gave him a B. A B is still a good grade, Derek.
Yeah,
that's just shy of what you gave him.
So. I know it is. All right, so
like, I gave him a B plus, so I can't believe you gave him a B. What the fuck?
But yeah, okay. So you're right. I shouldn't complain about that. All right, Dest, I gave a C minus, C-ish, C.
Yeah, I give him a C to C plus. He had moments. He also tried to do way too much and got dispossessed.
Yeah,
a lot.
He did.
So maybe C minus would be more accurate, I guess. And nothing really happened on his side. We talked about this in the previous segment. That entire left side was negated by just Conrad, Dest, and Aronson. For whatever reason, could not connect with anything.
No, they were standing 3 feet apart. I mean, that's an exaggeration, obviously. But when you stand so close to each other as you're attacking the wing, and everybody wants to do the one thing, which is take it down the line and cross it, or try to dribble through and attack people, all 3 of them wanted to do it. And so, but none of them could figure out how to do it because they were standing so close to each other. Didn't provide any space for passing. So there was no space for passing. And if it was the tiki-taka shit where you're like the guy's up your asshole, right? You get the ball and the guy's ramming you in the ass. You can't do anything when that's happening. You got to take, you need more space. And there was no space. They didn't provide space for one another. And you saw Adams even once come up the field with the ball. And he's like, hey, motherfucker, spread the fuck out. Give me a pass.
Move. Anything. Do something.
Yeah, what the fuck? Don't stand next to one another. Everybody wants to do the same thing. Well, that's not going to work. You're going to have to Gregg's going to figure out how to use the space better. You can't cram all those guys within 10 yards of each other. It just doesn't work. Dest, we did. Yedlin, I gave him a B.
I gave him a B as well.
I thought he was better on defense than Dest for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, we talked about this too, but that might not necessarily be Dest's problem. If he was on the right-hand side, maybe it'd be more suitable. I think we've seen more of him performing on the left than we've seen on the right as a whole.
Yeah.
But anyways, regardless, to Yedlin, I thought Yedlin had a pretty decent game. He disrupted our right-hand side on their attack a lot. Their left-hand side, I guess. But as a whole, I thought it was fine. Got into the attack a number of times early in the match, but then that kind of got shot backwards as we stopped really performing in the attack.
Yep.
But no, I thought he did well. Yeah, I liked his performance.
Here's the thing, though. So Dest gets pulled at 60, around 60th minute, right?
Yeah.
And Yedlin doesn't get pulled until the end of the game, like with 10 minutes left. And I think that says everything about what you need to know about their performances, unless you're thinking that Dest is getting rest, which would rhyme and be cool, but it doesn't mean that it's true. All right. I don't think Dest was getting rest. I think
Berhalter is quite the rapper, so we're gonna assume that is because he's not performing well on that left-hand side. Because if Yedlin was performing worse than Dest, they would have substituted Yedlin out and moved Dest over to the right. Yeah. So either he is giving him rest because he's expecting him to play in every single game, or Dest just performed poorly and Robinson was going to be the go-to guy.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, Dest wasn't the best, and he did make some messes as well, and he didn't pass the test. And
he was not better than the rest.
And so I don't think he was taken out because he needed a rest. So I think that he needs to be more invested in this team. And I don't know. I saw him jogging back again on defense. Saw him jogging, and I'm like, everybody else, Aronson's busting his ass to get back, and you're jogging. Again, I don't like that. It irritates me. So I don't know if you
I don't
saw
want
it.
to go
I
into too
saw
much
it.
of it. I don't want to go. Yeah, I don't want to go into too much of a tangent with that. But we did talk about in the first segment about the possibility of moving Dest further up the field and away from the back line because his
Yep.
defense is just lacking as a whole.
Yep.
And maybe if we play like the 5-man back line or the 3 back and then the 2 wing backs and everything, maybe that's more suited to his skill level or his abilities. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, let's move on. We got what? Reed and Robinson. Let's go with those.
Yeah, well, okay. Just one final thing. If you
Oh,
don't
sure.
play Dest as a left wing back in a 5, then don't start him out left. That's just not going to be his thing. And not especially if you're going to jam Aronson and Conrad around with him too, who all 3 players want to do the same thing. So that's got to be worked out. Now, okay, Reem, I gave a B plus. I thought he wasn't the problem. I also thought he made a lot of good plays. I thought he made a lot of good headers. I thought he made some good through passes late in the game to PFOC. So anyhow, B plus.
I gave him a B, just in the sense that we talked about it earlier. But the center backs were forced to do a lot of long balls that just didn't work, and unfortunately, that's going to ding on them. That's nothing to take away from them. The fact that they just had no other options but to lay it forward. But quite frankly, again, I came into the game thinking that Reem was going to be our liability. Turns out, no, he actually had a pretty decent game.
He did his job. He
Yep.
did his job, and he did it a little bit better than average. So I gave him a B plus.
Bravo.
You gave him a B.
Yep.
Robinson B plus.
Yeah,
again,
B plus.
for me, the 2 center backs were just solid.
So again, yeah. What can you say about their defensive ability? They did perfectly fine throughout the entire match. It was just their distribution of the ball. I think Robinson had a couple of sloppy or even shorter passes, but yeah, the long balls just were not working for him at all. But again, not necessarily his fault, and more the fact that there was just no off the ball movement. So yeah, I gave him a BB plus area. You can range between the 2 if you want.
And when tested on counters, and when tested on crosses, and when tested on corners, those guys were solid.
And especially Robinson, he shuts so many attacks down by just simply outrunning the offensive player. The guy is quick. The guy is quick, and he is absolutely the person to start next to Brooks in that sense.
Yep. Adams, I gave a B plus. I thought he was active. I thought he was all over the place. I thought he was trying to get people to do things. He was trying to make some order out of a mess, which is what it was. It was spasticity out there. And so I think he was trying to get people to calm down. I think he was trying to direct people to open space and not stand right around one another. And it was difficult for him, but man, was he there whenever we need cover for the back 4. He was just there.
Absolutely.
He balled.
I gave him a B plus as well. Quite frankly, he made some errant passes and decisions, but I still stand firm that's more along the lines of the fact that there's no off the ball movement, and there was just a bunch of disjointness between all the players from the midfield to the attack. I think as a whole, I loved Adams' grittiness on the field.
I loved it.
He was physical. He was in the face of the opposition, basically saying, "Hey, fuck off." I dug that. And quite frankly, like you mentioned, his covering of the back line was impeccable. And I think that's one thing that was missing whenever he's not there. Nothing against Acosta playing as the number 6. And quite frankly, I think breaking up plays, I thought Acosta did well in the Nations League and even the Gold Cup, but even to an extent the Nations League. But the ability to read the game, to pressure the opposition and everything like that, Adams is just a league in his own league when it comes to that. So yeah, B plus. He could have done some things better, but I don't think necessarily all of his fault.
All right, what do you got for McKenny?
I gave McKinney a C plus. Again, I'm teetering between grades here because they do some things good, and then there's just a lot of things that they did bad. So I'm giving him a C plus.
Yeah, so just anybody who's new and they're listening to these grades, like when I was a kid, and if I brought a paper home with a C plus on it, my parents would be like, "What? A C plus? What's wrong with you? What
Get your shit together."
Well, you're not paying attention? to the teacher or what? What's going on here? So there weren't many of those in my youth, but when it happened, it was not a good thing. I also gave McKinney a C plus. I still think that was barely an above average because of the spasticity, the spazziness of his play. Yes, was he everywhere? Yes, did he have some great things that happened that could have turned into something else? Did he miss a header that I think he should have put on goal? Yes, he did. Did he give up the ball a lot? Did he make fouls that were needless? Yes. It was a mixed bag with McKinney.
Definitely wasn't his best game. It wasn't his worst game, although probably pretty close to his worst game in all honesty. And we're still giving him a CC plus. It wasn't his game. And I was like, when they were talking about subs, I'm like, I bet you anything they're going to pull McKinney. But they didn't.
Because you can always count on McKinney usually for that late minute header.
That last second chance. Yep. And I understand why they kept him in all honesty, even though it wasn't his best game, but he had chances. We'll see. We'll see what happens against Canada and Honduras, but
all right.
CC plus.
I'll let you do Aronson as well first this time, since I sucked up all the first group.
I gave Aronson a C.
I gave him a C as well. Just listen, when I expect a lot more from him. Now, granted, he was playing in a position for us he had not played that much before. I think he might have played it in some friendlies a long time ago. Might have played midfield, but he's playing CAM for his team, and so this shouldn't have been like too much. Playing an 8 shouldn't have totally freaked him out, and it didn't. The problem, again, we've already talked about it: congestion up the left side between him, Conrad, and Dest. Too congested. Spread out. Give somebody a lane to pass to, and they didn't. All through the game.
Well, not only that, but I don't think when you have Conrad, Aronson, and Dest all running on the same sideline, I don't think in that situation Dest necessarily needs to get into the attack every single time. And that's what happened is he got into the attack.
Dest does.
No, exactly. Yeah. No, but I don't think with those three there, I think that when Dest moves into the attack constantly, it just clogs it up. So if you were to sit back some, open it up, and let Aronson and Conrad get some chances in there, to your point, it was too congested. And here's the other big problem with that is that for like about half of the first half, if not more, Aronson was a ghost. I didn't hear his name. I didn't see him on the field. It was just like, was he there? I know he's on the roster, but was he there? And he came back later when he got pushed up into the attack. I think it was better. And I personally think that having Reyna in the middle and having Aronson up top would have been a better option. But that's just me.
I don't. And here's why. No. Reyna is languid and he doesn't often like to pass the ball sometimes. He just likes to just take it and go. And like whatever happens. I think he's better out there.
I think it stems from him being up into the attack. I think when he's in the midfield, I think he's going to be looking for those slotted balls.
No, not if he's playing as an 8. If you play him as a 10, I'd agree with you. Because that would set him free.
Do you think as an 8 he would decide to try to dribble 3 or 4 people and take a shot?
I think he would feel frustrated after a while at not being in the offensive attack or in the attack. I think if you're going to play him, you have to play him as a 10. If you play him as an 8, you're not going to get as much activity out of him as you are from Aronson. Is a little, he's all over. Aronson is like the Energizer Bunny. He never runs out of energy, and he's really good. He's really good on defense. Not that Reyna isn't. I just don't think Reyna's interested in attacking. And
I think that plays into Aronson's benefit up top instead of Reyna in this situation, because Reyna into the attack was fine. He tried to dribble too many people, tried to stop the ball. But quite frankly, what we needed that constant attacking of the defense. And when Aronson got pushed up into the top 3, that's when he finally showed up. So that second half, once the subs started coming in and Conrad got subbed out and Aronson went up into the attack, all of a sudden at that point, Aronson was much more lively and he was creating more opportunities. So I don't think having him in the midfield is the best option personally. I think Reyna there having the slotted, and quite frankly, don't play Reyna as a pure 8. I mean, quite frankly, Leggett doesn't play a pure 8 when he's there.
Come on. No, they do. Those guys are never free to be a 10-8. I'm not, especially McKenny is the closest thing we have to a 10-8 on that team. He goes up and he gets in the mess. That means somebody else has to sit back and help Adams.
I think McKinney in that situation is more of a box-to-box 8, whereas a 10-8 would be more of a creative mindset, where McKinney's not necessarily the most creative with the ball. He'll make the passes and everything like that, but that's not the same type of player that you're talking about. My take, my personal take.
So he's not a 10-8. He's a 9-8. In McKinney's mind, he's a 9-8. How's that? Does that work?
False 9-8? This is getting really off topic, but yeah. No, so yeah. Regardless, I think having the creativity and the calm with the ball in the midfield would have been Reyna's benefit compared to Aronson. Whereas I think Aronson's more at pace attack would have suited being up further better. That's just my take on the matter.
We're just going to disagree. We're just going to disagree on that. And that's okay.
This might be a first for the Stred card.
No, it is not. It is not the first.
Well, since we're talking about Reyna, what did you give Reyna?
I gave Reyna a C+.
Interesting.
I thought he created some good moments, but I thought he was just above, barely above what I would consider to be an average Reyna. I expected Reyna to have a killer game. He did not have a killer game. He had moments, but not a killer game.
No, I understand. I understand and agree with you on that. I thought once the subs came in, Reyna finally woke up. So right about that 60th mark. So 1 to 60, I didn't really enjoy him as a player out in the field. But after 60, I thought he picked it up. And did he still make some poor decisions at that point, like too many dribblings, whatever? Sure. But I gave him like a B-, C+, B-, more like B-.
Yeah,
and because he did finally show up, and he was finally a creative force in the attack.
He had some mopey moments too, by the way.
Yes, he did. We've talked about this before, and there are people who get on us, and we're going to talk about Leggett later. But there are people who get on us about talk about Leggett and Roldan and stuff like that. We talk about the other players too. We've been talking about how poor some players have been playing this match. We talked about Reyna's mopiness in earlier matches, and we've talked about it now. So again, don't get on our balls about not necessarily beating down, but being a little harsh on Leggett or Roldan or insert player here. Even Acosta at that point, we've been harsh on Acosta quite a bit, not necessarily of recent, but
right
earlier.
Or get on our balls. Well, mine, because they're lonely. All right.
Aww, sad face.
If you really want to get on balls, give me a call. No, don't do that. Don't do that.
8675309.
Yeah. You got it. All right. Conrad.
I gave Conrad a B.
I gave him a C+. I just thought, again, where's the beef? Remember that commercial? Where's the beef?
Where's the beef?
There's not enough beef here. I see a lot. I see that there's potential for a really good steak, but I'm not seeing that steak getting cooked properly. If you get my meaning.
So I think a lot of his chances were stifled in the sense that we got corner kicks or it's just nice deflections or whatever. I saw a player that was willing to take on his man or men in general.
But Des did that too.
But Des also got dispossessed a greater amount.
I get it. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So I'm sticking with my B for Conrad. It wasn't perfect by any means. I see the potential there. I know the type of player he can be. And maybe given different players surrounding him might be better. No, the funny thing was, I had this conversation with one of our fans on Twitter, and he had pushed he had Aronson and Conrad up in the attack, and he had mentioned Aronson in the left, Sargent and Conrad is greater than Conrad, Sargent, and Aronson, because Conrad's tendencies is not necessarily play that inverted winger, where he cuts into the middle and shoots with his right foot, despite the fact that he has his dominant foot is right. His tendencies are to drive it down to the end line and lay it across.
Yep.
So playing him on the right, where his right foot is dominant, would be better suited than, say, playing him on the left, where he has to make that cross with his left foot. Not saying that his left-footed crosses are bad by any means, but perhaps playing him on the right would have been better because he's playing with his more dominant foot.
Man, that's getting into the weeds. I think that, that's another way to look at it. But again, then you got to look about the whole rotation of wingers. So that, again, you're telling me then Reyna needs to go play midfield. That's all you've been telling me this whole goddamn show, Brett. I get it.
Take the hint. No. So now this situation, I'm going purely off. Well, it would probably benefit Reyna to be on the left hand anyways. He started playing better on the left than he did on the right in this game, because he could cut into his more dominant foot, because he plays more of an inverted winger in that sense, where he wants to cut into the middle. So might as well give him the opportunity to play on his strong foot, similar to how Pulisic plays. He wants to cut into his right foot and lay that shot in, or that cross, or that pass. So that would have been beneficial if they just swapped places. Keep Reyna up top, sure, why not? But swap him and Conrad, and maybe it would have been different. Because then all of a sudden you don't have Conrad and Des playing on the same side. You have Reyna and Des playing on the same side. They're different types of players.
It's all moot now. We're going into Nashville.
Yeah.
It's all moot. Pulisic's playing out left. So that's a given. Sargent,
don't worry, he'll have Robinson to play with him. So
yeah, I gave Sargent a B- because I thought he was a little better than usual. And by the way, again with the grades, like if I brought a B- home, my parents would be like, "That's all right, but it's not good." If I brought a C+ home, they're like, "You got a C in something?" So that's how I'm looking at this grading system. So yeah, as a C+, a good grade for some, it is. Or as a B- a good grade for some. Just depends on who the person is that's trying to be objective in looking at this. So don't take our grades in any, stringent, like, oh, these C+ was a good grade in my school. Well, it wasn't in my house. So that's how I'm going on this. I gave Sargent, as I said, a B-.
I give him a B+ range. Again, I'm giving you a lot of ranges, unfortunately. I'm not being a stickler on this, because I thought Sargent did a lot of good things. One of his best attributes in this match was playing with his back to the goal. He was able to collect it and distribute. Now, mind you, some of his distributions were just poor, which is why I was like leaning more towards the B than the B+. He got into some situations where he could have created, and instead of just ripping a shot, which is the most frustrating part, we're in a box and our players don't want to shoot the ball.
Yeah, weird.
What the fuck is that all about?
Instead
of as a striker, instead of just shooting the ball, he tried to lay it off to Conrad, who then Conrad is like, "Oh crap, the ball's in front of me. I'm going to take more touch," and then deflection for a corner kick. Okay, well, we got a corner kick out of it, but come on, rip that shot. You're a striker with that striker mentality. Put it in the back of the net.
I think he had one that was a tight angle, but if you rip that fucker, that's going to go, past the goalkeeper.
Force the keeper
legs.
Force the keeper to make a save. If the keeper makes a save, maybe it's a deflection. The keeper wasn't sure of hands by any means. He made a couple punches that he easily could have caught. But I'm just like, rip the shot, because even if you don't score, that deflection might fall to somebody and they fall through. Like in the Nations League, that the Reyna's goal against Mexico occurred, not mind you, this is off a corner, but occurred because McKinney had a shot on goal, a head on goal. Ochoa made the save, and then it fell right to Reyna. And Reyna's like, "Oh, look, easy goal."
Yeah,
make that shot, creates the chance. So maybe B+ is probably the wrong answer. Maybe it's B- to B, because again, I want Sargent to get a little grittier. quite frankly.
Yeah, me too.
That's about the simple thing right there, because he did a lot of good things, but I want him to be greedy, especially in and around that box. Rip a shot. You are a striker.
Yes, he needs a little bit more arrogance in him, I think. And I think we've had that discussion before. He needs a little Zlatan, just like a 10% slice of Zlatan, and just put that in your bag, right? And take
It's
that
like his bicep
every
tattoo
game.
version of Slutton, just a little bit, just a smidge.
Just a little of Zlatan. Nobody needs any more than like maybe 40% of Zlatan. Like that's too much after that. And so then we get to the guys that came in. And PFOC, this is unbelievable. I'm going to say this. I gave PFOC a B plus. I thought he was so deliberate in what he wanted to do. He was so focused. Like he didn't show up in weird places for me. He was like, I know exactly where what my role is, and I'm going to do it. And I'm going to give you energy, 100% energy the whole time. Was he perfect? No, that's why he didn't get an A. But he had some opportunities where Sargent didn't, and he had a lot less time to do it. And I think that he might just win the center forward starting spot in Canada coming up. I thought he just won it. I thought he won the spot.
Winning it or not, I think Berhalter is going to be rotating that spot anyway. So whether or not Sargent starts versus Canada or Honduras will be seen. I think PFOC did well, and I gave him a B, simply because again, he played well with his back to goal. He did the exact same things that Sargent was able to do, but he did create the chances. He was in the right spots, and mind you, that can also stem down to the balls being laid into him. But Sargent had his chances. He didn't capitalize. PFOC had his chances. He didn't capitalize. I think the difference between the two is that, to your point, is PFOC was determined. He knew exactly what he wanted to do, and he tried to implement it, but it just didn't work out.
I thought PFOC found open space better than Sargent did. I thought PFOC sat in the open space better than Sargent. I think Sargent let guys hang around him too much.
It kind of when you say PFOC and everything like that, it just sounds like you're doing like a caveman thing. I think PFOC found open spaces.
Grunt.
PFOC kick ball. No. Again, I think PFOC had the better game with less time. I agree, but I think Sargent did fine. It's just I wish one of them would have capitalized. I really do.
All right, we're gonna have to keep the rest of these, by the way, down to a sentence.
That's fine. I don't think there's gonna be much to talk about them.
All right, Robinson C plus had a great move forward.
Or sorry, B minus.
I thought he had a great run on the left and a great cross, but I also thought he fucked up once. So there you go.
I gave him a B minus.
All right, Acosta, I gave him a C plus as well. I thought he came in, he was fine. He lost really bad ball at one point, but I didn't think he totally fucked up. And then we threw him back at right back, and he was serviceable, and I think he was fine. But again, if I bring a C plus home to my parents back when I was a kid, they go, "That's not acceptable." I think it could have been better, and that's what I'm saying about.
He could have been better. I think it was a B minus performance, quite frankly. But he could have been better.
Acosta, rolled on. Action all through the last 10 minutes of the game. Rolled on versus rolled on. Rams butting heads. Brothers versus brothers.
And Alex got the upper hand.
I think Alex got a C plus or a B minus or a B, and I think his older brother Christian got a C.
I gave Christian a C plus because he did have a couple passes that were expected, I guess, of a professional player. And yes, he did commit a couple fouls against his brother or got dispossessed by his brother. But I don't know. It was an average game. Roughly speaking.
All right, Sounders fan, bring on the hate. We're ready for you. Legit B. In there for 10 minutes, had one amazing move and pass, and could have been a goal. Really should have been a goal. And a steal. PFOC got lots of steals too. Coming in for those, or his 30 minutes, I think it was. So I just gave him a B. I thought it was fine. It was maybe a B minus. I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
teetering.
I gave him a B minus,
We
and
just
that's nothing against him. B minus is still a fine grade, guys. But again, you have 10 minutes. He did pretty much everything he could do right. But it'd be like you couldn't give him like an A because he was in there for 10 minutes. So
right.
he was above average and on his limited time. So B minus for me.
Yeah. Sometimes I watched the game and I thought, I could work something out where this would be a 4-4-1-1, and it would work a lot better than this worked tonight. And so tactically for Gregg, I give him a C. I thought he didn't really change the way we were shaped. We continued to play like we were fucking on cocaine and unfocused cocaine. Like you sniffed too much cocaine, right? You should have sniffed half the line, but you sniffed the whole line, and now you're fucking out of control. And that's what it looked like to me. And I'm not endorsing drugs. I'm just relating an example.
I think Berhalter came out and gave the fans what they wanted, especially with that midfield. That's not saying it was just pure fan service by any means, but maybe that's what he wanted to do, and it just so happened to coincide with what the fans wanted to. And he made some changes at the end that keep us in the same format because, quite frankly, we were creating chances, but it was just an ugly, sloppy game. You can't necessarily blame the sloppiness on Berhalter in that sense. So I'm giving Berhalter a B minus.
He didn't slow the game down. And let me just say this: Berhalter's fuckometer on giving a fuckometer about what the fans think is about at 2 out of 10. He doesn't care, bro.
No. I'm just saying. Like that's what I'm saying. Well, I don't think it was fan service by any means. That's probably what he wanted to do eventually. And quite frankly, it would be it'd be surprising if Aronson or Reyna did not start in the midfield with eventually at some point. But again, he went out there, he played, he put out the best players, barring Brooks over Ream, but even then Ream had a good game. But barring that, he put out the best players to start the match, to take it to El Salvador, and the players showed up for 10 minutes.
No, I'll give him more than that. I'll give him 20.
Well, I mean, the first 10 minutes, and they showed up later, but
yeah. But yeah, it wasn't what we wanted, folks. But those are your grades for this particular game. We got one more segment to do. It is 1:13 a.m. in the morning. We are insane. We are still here. It is late, but we're going to finish up this last segment, and that's going to be the Canada preview for. So like, share, and dance with it. Dance with it. Yeah, throw it in your pants and dance with it. All right, until the next time on Straight Red Card. Ciao.